Hi, I'm Ben Felder with the Oklahoma, and it is Wednesday. It's day 10 of a teacher walkout, which also comes as the filing period for candidates in the 2018 election comes. Here in the basement of the Oklahoma Capitol, teachers are outside, candidates are lining up to file for office just around the corner. And one of the big questions is, how many teachers are we going to see come inside and run for office? You may recall that in 2016, there was the so-called Teachers Caucus. Nearly 30 educators ran for office to try to put a spotlight on public education. We've already talked to a few teachers that have already signed up and said that they're going to run for office. They're going to try to put members in the House and the Senate that actually say what they or do what they mean when they say that it's time to invest in Oklahoma's public schools.
No, I haven't. This is the first time.
Okay, you said you're a teacher?
Yes.
Currently a teacher?
I am currently a teacher. I'm currently a teacher at Haskell Public Schools. Before that, I was a 7-year teacher at Tulsa Public and 4-year assistant principal in Tulsa Public.
Well, when did you decide you were going to run?
Probably about the week of spring break. The week before that, I had the opportunity to meet my representative, and I was highly disappointed in that meeting and the lack of support that I felt as a public educator. And then some people reached out to me, said you should consider this, and no. And then as I started talking to people about it, the community, friends that I know in the area, I thought, no, I should do this. I can do this, and I'm more than capable of doing this. So I started on the journey.
I teach right now in Haskell, Oklahoma. I've taught 30 years in Broken Arrow Public Schools and retired from there in 2016.
Okay, you've never run for public office before?
No.
Okay. So tell me the backstory on what made you decide to run this year.
Basically, the reason that I decided to run was the fact that they have not funded education. They destroyed all of the levels of tax, income tax, and all of the different things that they've cut and given corporations and businesses incentives to be here, and nothing's really trickled down to us. We have, since 2008, been cut drastically every year, and I just decided now's the time to step out and help fund education the way it should properly be funded.
I decided to run because my mom has been a teacher for her whole life, and I've been a teacher's son for my whole life. I've seen what has happened over my entire lifetime, not just in my public schooling, but being up there after hours with her for long nights and days. And I've seen firsthand how it's affected my peers and her students, and all of her peers as teachers as well. The last decade of draconian cuts have not worked. The whole experiment has failed, and I think it's time to challenge House leadership on what the mess that they've created here.
What kind of impact do you think the walkouts this year are going to have on the elections in 2018?
I really hope a big one. I've heard more people, actually, a lot of people will say that they vote on the issues, but when they go to the ballot box, they vote straight party, straight ticket. And I think that this year, that people may actually mean it when they say that they're willing to look at both sides of the issue, because again, we've seen the last nearly decade has not worked. We know for a fact, you can look at the numbers, you can come up here and see it, you can walk into any classroom and see it, that the last decade of this has not worked. So I think a lot of people are willing to look at that, and having 30, 40, 50,000 teachers up here advocating for a change, I think really makes a big statement, and people are willing to listen to that.
I feel like there's a really big disconnect between what's happening and what people here know about. And that's in talking to many representatives, both the Democratic and Republican. They don't know what we're going through as a teacher, and many people in the community don't feel like their representatives even know who they are. And living there, being a part of it, knowing them, I feel like in this house, we need real people and not politicians. I feel like they're falling out of touch with their communities.
No, I had decided a few weeks earlier, my son, Josh Martin, is running for House District 70 in Midtown Tulsa, and I was at a training to learn how to help him with his campaign, and they found out I was a teacher and started encouraging me to run, and I kept saying, no, I'm a teacher. No. And then just that seed, I guess, and what was building in the state with the teachers, I decided it's time to step out of the classroom. I've done this for over 30 years and step into a position where I can actually affect the change that we need.
What kind of impact do you think that the walkout that's ongoing is going to have on this year's elections? Do you think it'll have an impact?
It's definitely going to have an impact. We have more Democrats that have filed than in years. We're having Democratic primaries. That hasn't happened in years. We have a lot of teachers that are coming to file, and teachers are encouraging teachers to file. Jennifer Youngberg is running in House District 89, I believe. I don't have that. It's Mike Ritt's district, and she works with me in Haskell, and I encouraged her to run. And so it's really grassroots, organic stuff going on with the teachers saying, we can do this, and we can probably step up and understand what education needs better than what's happened here lately.
How much more do you think public education will be a part of this year's election?
I believe that it has to be. I believe it has to be a part of this year's election. I believe that the fire's hot right now. People are supporting educators, and I think it's important, even after we return back to school, that people remember what they're feeling right now. This intensity for public education, which is not where it could be and should be in states around us. So I think it's going to be a huge piece, and I think as teachers and educators and those supporters of educators, we need to keep people remembering what are we feeling right now, and we need to keep that going until November.
I have spoken to a lot of people, and they really are extremely frustrated. They had no idea that education has become partisan. It really has become partisan, and they don't feel like it should be. Education should not be a partisan issue. Education is for Republican children and Democrat children and independent children and libertarian children. All of those parties' children come to our public schools, and it's been held up as partisan issues. They hold it against the Democrats and the independents. The Republicans are holding it up in committee, and it really should not be partisan, but a lot of people are feeling that it is, and that's why the frustration, and that's why the filing.
I feel like this is an opportunity that anybody would want to and need to capitalize on, but I think more importantly, getting to know my community. They're getting to know me now as that person who lives literally 2 miles down the road from them. I think that in itself will get me where I need to be. This is great, and I appreciate the publicity that this can give, but more importantly, it's about the community.